Hello, guys. I know it's been about 3 months, and to get back into things, I'm going to start with a bit of a shorter thing. Hopefully, this is shorter. Should be shorter. This is, obviously, as you can see, The Pedestrian, a short story by Bradbury. And, let's get into it. The Pedestrian by Ray Bradbury. To enter out into that silence, which was the city at 8 o'clock of a misty evening in November, to put your feet upon that buckling concrete walk, step over grassy seams, and make your way, hands in pockets, through the silences, that was what Mr. Leonard Mead most dearly loved to do. He would stand upon the corner of an intersection and peer down long moonlight venues of sidewalk in four directions, deciding which way to go. But it really made no difference. He was alone in this world of A.D. 2131, or as good as alone, and with a final decision made, a path selected, he would stride off, ending patterns of frosty air before him like the smoke of a cigar. Sometimes he would walk for hours and miles and return only at midnight to his house, and on the way he would see the cottages and homes with their dark windows, and it was not unequal to walking to a graveyard, because only the faintest glimmers of firelight appeared in flickers behind the windows. Sudden, grey phantoms seemed to manifest themselves upon inner room walls where a curtain was still undrawn against the night, or there were whispers and murmurs where a window in a tomb-like building was still open. Leonard Mead would pause, cock his head, listen, look, and march on, his feet making no noise on the lumpy walk. For a long while now the sidewalks had been vanishing under flowers and grass. In 10 years of walking by night or day for thousands of miles, he had never met another person walking, not one in all that time. He now wore sneakers when strolling at night, because the dogs in intermittent squads would parallel his journey with barks if he wore hard heels, and lights might click on and faces appear, and an entire street startled by the passing of a lone figure in the early November evening. On this particular evening he began his journey in a westerly direction, toward the hidden sea. There was a good crystal frost in the air. It cut the nose going in, and made the lungs blaze like a Christmas tree inside. You could feel the cold light going on and off, all the branches filled with invisible snow. He listened to the soft push of his soft shoes through the autumn leaves with satisfaction, and whistled a cold, quiet whistle between his teeth, occasionally picking up a leaf as he passed, examining its skeletal pattern in the infrequent lamplights as he went on, smelling its rusty smell. "Hello in there," he whispered to every house on every side as he moved. "What's up on Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 9? Where are the cowboys rushing, and do I see the United States cavalry over the next hill to the rescue?" The street was silent and long and empty, with only a shadow moving like the shadow of a hawk in mid-country. If he closed his eyes and stood very still, frozen, he imagined himself upon the center of a plain, a wintry, windless Arizona country, with no house in 1,000 miles, and only dry river beds, the streets for company. "What is it now?" he asked the houses, noticing his wrist-watch. "8:30 p.m.? Time for a dozen assorted murders? A quiz? A revue? A comedian falling off the stage?" Was that a murmur of laughter from within the moon-white house? He hesitated, but went on when nothing more happened. He stumbled over a particularly uneven section of walk as he came to a clover-leaf intersection which stood silent where two main highways crossed the town. During the day it was a thunderous surge of cars, the gas stations open, a great insect rustling and ceaseless jockeying for position as the scarab beetles, a faint incense puttering from their exhausts, skimmed homeward to the far horizons. But now these highways too, were like streams in a dry season, all stone and bed and moon radiance. He turned his back on a side street, circling around toward his home. He was within a block of his destination when the lone car turned a corner quite suddenly and flashed a fierce white cone of light upon him. He stood entranced, not unlike a night moth stunned by the illumination and then drawn toward it. A metallic voice called to him. "Stand still, stay where you are, don't move!" He halted. "Put up your hands!" "But," he said, "put up your hands, or I'll shoot!" The police, of course. What a rare, incredible thing. In a city of 3,000,000, there was only one police car left. Ever since a year ago, 2130, the election year, the force had been cut down from 3 cars to one. Crime was ebbing. There was no need now for the police, save for this one lone car wandering and wandering the empty streets. "Your name?" said the police car in a metallic whisper. He couldn't see the men in it, for the bright light in his eyes. "Leonard Mead," he said. "Speak up!" "Leonard Mead." "Business or profession?" "I'd guess you'd call me a writer." "No profession," said the police car as if talking to itself. The light held him fixed like a museum specimen, needle thrust from the chest. "You might say that," said Mr. Mead. He hadn't written in years. Magazines and books didn't sell any more. Everything went on in the tomb-like houses at night now, he thought, continuing his fancy. The tombs, ill-lit by television light, where the people sat like the dead, the grey or multicolored lights touching their expressionless faces, but never really touching them. "No profession," said the phonographic voice, hissing. "What are you doing out?" "Walking," said Leonard Mead. "Walking?" "Just walking," he said simply, but his face felt cold. "Walking, just walking, walking?" "Yes, sir." "Walking where? For what?" "Walking for air. Walking to sea." "Your address?" "11 South St. James Street." "And there's air in your house? You have an air conditioner, Mr. Mead?" "Yes." "And you have a viewing screen in your house to see with?" "No." "No?" There was a crackling quiet that in itself was an accusation. "Are you married, Mr. Mead?" "No." "Not married," said the police voice behind the fiery beam. The moon was high and clear among the stars, and the houses on the street were grey and silent. "Nobody wanted me," said Mr. Mead with a smile. "Don't speak unless you're spoken to." Leonard Mead waited in the cold night. "Just walking, Mr. Mead." "Yes, but you haven't explained for what purpose." "I explained. For air and to see, and just to walk." "Have you done this often?" "Every night for years." The police car sat in the centre of the street, with its radio throat faintly humming. "Well, Mr. Mead," it said. "Is that all?" he asked politely. "Yes," said the yoke. "Here." There was a sigh, a pop. The back of the police car sprang wide. "Get in." "Wait a minute. I haven't done anything." "Get in." "I protest." "Mr. Mead." He walked like a man suddenly drunk. As he passed the front window of the car he looked in. As he had expected, there was no one in the front seat, no one in the car at all. "Get in." He put his hand to the door and peered into the back seat, which was a little cell, a little black jail with bars. It smelled of riveted steel. It smelled of harsh antiseptic. It smelled too clean and hard and metallic. There was nothing soft there. "Now if you had a wife to give you an alibi," the iron voice said to him. "But—" "Where are you taking me?" The car hesitated, or rather gave a faint whirring click, as if information somewhere was dropping card by punch-slotted card under electronic eyes. "To the Psychiatric Center for Research on Regressive Tendencies." He got in. The door shut with a soft thud. The police car rolled through the night avenues, flashing its dim lights ahead. They passed one house on one street a moment later. One house in an entire city of houses that were dark, but this one particular house had all its lights brightly lit, every window a loud yellow illumination, square and warm in the cool darkness. "That's my house," said Leonard Mead. No one answered him. The car moved down the empty riverbed streets, and off away, leaving the empty streets with the empty sidewalks, and no sound and no motion, all the rest of the chill November night. Okay, so that was the end of the story. This is actually part of a book of short stories which I'll probably do throughout the winter season. And it also has a little bit of a introduction to it, which I didn't read at the beginning, but I'll read to you now for this minute or so. Alright. Ray Bradbury is the beloved author of innumerable classics, such as A Dandelion Wine, The Illustrated Man, Something Wicked This Way Comes, The Martian Chronicles, and the dystopian classic Fahrenheit 451. He is a master of the short story form, with more than 400 published stories to his credit, including such classics as There Will Come Soft Rains, A Sound of Thunder, and All Summer in a Day. Bradbury is a science fiction Writers of America Grandmaster and a Science Fiction Hall of Fame inductee, and is a winner of the World Fantasy Award for Life Achievement and the Bram Stoker Life Achievement Award. In short, a living legacy legend of the science fiction and fantasy field. One marker of a dystopian society is a lack of fairness. For some people, the field isn't just unlevel, it's hideously slanted, and there's no way to get a hand up in it. It's like one of those country western songs where bad stuff just keeps piling up. If our next story was a country song, it would be Patsy Cline's hit Walking After Midnight, because not only is it the story of a confirmed night stroller, it's classically unfair. Nothing eases a soul like a simple walk. Nothing causes less harm. It takes a truly dystopian society to punish a man for being a pedestrian. A hallmark of dystopian fiction is the light it sheds on our own world. When you look at it in many suburban developments, you'll see big box stores and parking lots strung along busy streets with no sidewalks for meandering. Multiple lanes with infrequent crosswalks guarantee a pedestrian must run, not stroll, across the street. Modern suburbia has almost succeeded in exorcising the walker from society. Maybe the dystopian of the pedestrian isn't so far away. So, yeah. Anyway, this is the short story, The Pedestrian. Uh, See you in a couple of days, because I'll probably do this again in a couple of days. Maybe. School's almost over for the winter. So, yeah. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoy.